Garden Host, your favorite podcast about nothing. Guess wherever you get your podcast, please give us 5-star reviews. Let us know what you think. You can also check our website, gardenhose.vercel.com. Join the conversation there. Ed, how are you?
I'm doing well, Obi. I just crack up every time you have to call yourself that bastard.
Hey, I know it's worth it to call you Deuce Chill, but we'll get through. I got some things for today's episode. I know you're coming in blind, so that's cool. I want to talk about something that's really pissing me off because I'm an old man, and these things piss me off.
All right, go
Now,
for it.
You've probably heard the story or similar story of like the trains in America, they're so wide because that's how wide carriages used to be, and carriages are that wide because that's how long wide Gladiator used to be, and gladiators are that wide because that's how big two horses' asses were back in the day. And we don't change things; we just keep doing things the way we always have. That story's not exactly true, but I'm sure you've heard different versions of that story. So I want to know why we haven't changed shit up. And when I'm on the internet filling out my address, I can't put my zip code first. Why do I have to put my zip code last and then have it checked to see if I have my city and state right, as opposed to my zip code first and then it fills in my city and state? Any thoughts on this, Ed? Because this nags the fuck out of me.
Well, Obi, are you sure that the zip code's actually checking to see if your state and city are correct? I just always assumed zip code was last because it's last on the envelope and it doesn't check shit. So that's why you put it last. I mean, I like your idea. Just let me put my zip code in so I don't have to type my state and city. I mean, that would make a lot of sense, but I'm not so sure websites are that smart. Are they?
Some are. I know for a fact some are, because some will say, will either tell you the zip doesn't match, or others will actually check your address and be like, are you sure you don't want your whole zip plus 4 included? And then, like, you didn't capitalize the T in your street name? Like, I know that some do. And maybe they all don't, but at least the ones that do could have my zip code first. And the rest would follow suit quickly when they realize how many people who order shit are just happy to put in their zip code.
So I have a couple of I have a suggestion for you. One, and maybe it's because you're on Team Apple, but why isn't your like name, address, like all that shit just saved in your phone so that when it comes time to fill something out, it automatically pops up, you click yes, and boom, it's already there.
It is. It's not really a phone issue as much as a computer issue. But
So
even
when you're
there,
on so when you're on your
even
browser, when you're on like a computer browser,
yeah.
okay.
But even on the phone, sometimes I don't make now. Maybe this is because I'm Team Apple. Sometimes you fill it in, and then it's still like the color of not having been filled in, and you have to like delete the last letter of each one. Do you get that on Android, or is that only an Apple shit?
No,
Oh,
wow. So maybe Team Apple sucks after all.
maybe
Interesting.
it does. Yeah,
I get some shit from people for green bubbles. I'm gonna have to throw back at them that they can't autofill
yeah.
their address.
I
That's
definitely
interesting.
get some that sometimes happens on autofills. For me, it's a real pain in the ass.
What pisses me off about the zip code thing is with credit cards. So I have autofill for my credit card set up. I just have it saved in Google. I just push my fingerprint and boom, it autofills my credit card. But sometimes it doesn't do the zip code, even though the zip code is in there. Some payment sites, I have to actually type the zip code in after the CVVs in there, all that. But then they ask for the zip code. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, why didn't we not have the zip code here?
Yeah, that's see, this the shit's not as smart as it's supposed to be, and we're worried about AI taking over, but shit's just stupid.
Yeah, I agree. Today I was at a golf outing and a guy I work with, he's from Germany. He came over from Germany when he was 12 years old, lived in America ever since. He's our age. And he tells me, he goes, oh man, he goes, and today was miserable to play golf, by the way. It was rainy, cold, it was like 47 degrees and it was rainy. It sucked. I didn't even last all 18, but so he comes in, he's soaking wet. I'm like, I mean, I must have sucked to be out there. He goes, and he was working a hole, he wasn't playing. He goes, yeah, it sucked. He goes, but what the last group came in, you see that beautiful blonde over there? She's German. So I spoke German to her. And she got so excited, she started like rubbing up against me. And he was like so excited about it. So the guy I was with, we all of a sudden, pull out the phone and just type in AI. what are some friendly German phrases I can say to a woman? Because, we were maybe going to go let her rub up against us. But
Right, of course.
the problem with that is AI came out with all of the phrases, but no pronunciations. I don't know how to pronounce German words.
No, no, you don't. Well, then you take that, you put that in the other app, and then it works. Like,
Well, what we could have done is just walked up to her and had the app speak it, right? And we wouldn't have had to say it. But
then she
I
would have
do
rubbed your
know
phone.
yeah, she could have rubbed up against my phone. I did learn something really, I think, helpful. Do you know how do you say hello in German?
Das?
No.
No.
Hello.
Hallo. Very nice. Very nice.
So
Excellent.
pretty much most languages, hello is freaking hello.
Right. Well, yeah. At least most of the European languages, both of
Yeah.
German and Latin descent, have a very hallo, hola, hola, hello.
Yeah, so there's your AI. I see how I tied the your AI comment about the zip code into like a woman rubbing up against a man. You see how I was able to seamlessly do that transition?
Yeah, and then brag about it. That was the most impressive part.
Well, yeah.
All right. And this next thing I'm going to bring to your attention, I think maybe particularly I don't know. I have this imagination that this is going to play right into the decisions you make at work on a daily basis. Although I know it's not the decisions you make at work, but I just wish it was. So Ed, as you are aware, and many of our new listeners are, is I have a new job. I have to go to the office sometimes. I've been going. And
3 days a week, right? 3 days a week you got to go to the office?
Well, we can discuss that off air.
Okay.
But
wait. So are you saying you're supposed to go 3 days a week, but maybe you're not, and that's why you want to talk about it off air?
No. I go the required numbers of days.
Okay.
I don't want to sound like I'm bragging based on how much or how little I have to go.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but it is hybrid. So I'm not there 5 days and I'm there more than one. We'll go somewhere in between. All right. In any case, I work in a place with what I would consider to be, I don't know, the worst designed bathroom for a man ever. So
no urinal? No urinal?
No, there's urinals. You walk in, and there's a wall on your right and a space on your left. And as soon as you turn right, the moment you turn right, you're in the urinal space. Like, that is where urinal number 1, man would stand.
Okay.
And there's only 3 urinals. So you would think, well, then, you know what? I know that's a bad place to stand. I'm going to go all the way to the 3rd urinal because we're not going to stand on the 2nd urinal because that's just rude.
Yep.
And the 3rd urinal, well, that's the special urinal. So now I feel bad using that urinal as well. I don't know where to stand. I literally pass all 3 urinals and go into the stalls because I don't know what is the correct urinal to pick. The one that someone's going to walk into, the middle urinal, or the special urinal, which they ask you not to use unless you need to. So, Ed, which urinal would you use?
Wait a second. You're blowing my mind with something here. First of all, I think what our listeners don't know is that you keep threatening to do video for for this, right, and put us up on TikTok.
I drew a picture.
Yeah. Oh, good, because I really think people need a visual for this. So you drew a picture. This is awesome.
Okay.
That picture is so shitty that maybe that should be the photo for this episode on the website. That is the shittiest photo I've ever seen.
So look, the people who see the video, the picture on the website, that is.
You're flipping me off while you're showing me the video.
No, not you. I'm flipping off everybody. Don't take it personally. Right. So you come in this entrance, you cross over here, and that's urinal 1.
Okay.
That's urinal 2.
Yeah.
And that is the 3rd urinal, which is the low urinal, which you're supposed to save for the people who need it if that's needed.
So first of all, you threw so much at me. I got to unpack this.
Okay.
So now that I see the visual, I actually don't think urinal number 1's so bad.
You walk right into that dude.
Not according to your photo, you don't.
You walk in the door.
Yeah, there's a wall there. You got to walk around the wall.
No, that wall is overdrawn. Like when I tell you
So
that
it's a
you
shitty picture, is what you're saying.
listen, I'm not an architect. And I don't design bathrooms and gyms, which is what this
You're
reminds me of,
you're
which is what I
you're
think
you're
you're
you're,
doing all
you're
day.
also not an artist either, because if that wall's overdrawn, all right. So what you're saying is,
No,
if
yeah,
you
when you
go
turn
to
that
urinal
corner,
one, if you're saying if you go to urinal one, people could walk into you, like
or you
bump
walk
into you.
into the person at your normal, like you when you walk, like you see as you pass that wall, you see if there's a guy standing at urinal one because he's there. Like he can't.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't use that one. I get you there. But now, okay, so we unpack that part. Your shitty artistry. But let's talk about the new term I heard, the special urinal. I've never heard referred to as a special urinal. I've heard it as the low urinal. Mostly I refer to it as the kids urinal. Um, and so let's unpack that for a second.
Okay.
Why so why do they even have that urinal in the first place? Okay, that's the first question.
I
Because I'm all the disability rights groups are gonna come after me on this one, but if if you're not a kid and you need to use that, you're in a wheelchair. You're not standing anyway. Like I don't understand how that helps you. You got to use the shitter. I just me. So I
I
don't
know
understand how that
I
helps you.
so if you go and you go rewatch the movie California with a K, an early Brad Pitt flick from our
Juliette Lewis, right?
yes,
Juliette Lewis. Oh, okay.
yep. In that movie, they show why those exist. See, some men have a bag that's down on their leg. And so they just lift their
Oh,
leg up.
yeah. So it's to drain the bag.
Yes.
Interesting.
And it's only because of that movie that I know how this happens. That man doesn't even make it another 30 seconds after you find out what it's for in the movie. Spoilers.
Yeah, because it's a murder movie. I thought
Yeah.
I couldn't believe you're going to tell me it's to wash somebody's dead head out or something. Okay, so it's to dump the
Is that a colostomy bag? I don't
no,
know.
that's poop. That's shit.
Food. Okay.
That bag is like the catheter bag, I
The
guess, right?
catheter bag. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, I get it. So, all right. Now here's the thing. So who says you're not allowed to use it?
It's just no one says you're not allowed to use it. You're still that they do ask that unless you need it.
Who's they? Where have you who's ever asked you? Like, there's not a sign there. There's nothing that says, like, when you get on a bus, there's a sign that says these seats are reserved for a handicap. Please, get up if they get here. You'll go into a restaurant, there'll be a table that has that. I've never seen that at the special urinal.
I've heard talk of it.
Where?
In
The movie California?
no, in some of these classes that you take at work. Oh yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's more of an issue with the stall because it's bigger and people go in there and they take their time in there because it's more roomy.
Yeah, the handicap stall. You should let people in. I get that. I got to take your DEI courses because I've never heard that you're not supposed to use the short one. So here's my thought. Use the short one, because here's the other thing. If the dude has a bag, you're gonna hear him roll up on you, man, and they can, like, you can finish your business before they have to dump the bag. And by the way, if I go to the bathroom and you have 3 urinals there, and all 3 urinals are being taken, I have to wait, don't I?
You go to the stall, but yeah.
But I would have to. I have to wait, right?
In theory, you have to wait. Yes.
So other people can't wait.
So let me get this straight. Your argument is your position is use the special one or the kids one because it's the furthest away from the door and you're not gonna okay.
And if somebody needs to use that, can only use that one, it's not like you're sitting down and doing your business for a while. Like, you're standing in front of a urinal. It's gonna be relatively quick. Like, no one's gonna have to wait a long time.
I mean, just as long as it takes for a cup of coffee, right?
I don't even think that. I think you're in and out. So
I meant like a cup of coffee to pass through it, not to drink a cup of coffee.
Yeah, but I even think it's not the full cup because you absorb some of it, right? So here's the thing, Obi. Use the special urinal and don't feel bad about it, all right?
Okay. Uh, if I get any sort of pushback, I will blame Ed and be like, I was just
No.
being douche chill.
If you get pushback, your first response is,
To
well,
turn
where's
around.
the sign? Where's the sign? There's no
Okay.
sign.
There's no
There's no
sign.
sign.
There's no
Yeah,
sign even acknowledging what the special one is for, to be completely honest.
I agree. That's
Yeah.
why this is why I've lived this long. I've been confounded by why these are everywhere. And I also have a question for you, Obi. And I know you're going to be a smartass and answer it by saying, well, didn't you go to the training? But my question was going to be, why don't people use those?
I mean, people do.
Yeah, but it's like the last one. Like, you know it. Like, and this is why you even brought up your scenario. Like, if you go in to the men's room and and we all know we've talked about this before. Like, you always have to keep like space in between you. Like, you go right. Like, it's this whole thing. And if you have to go next to another guy, like you're the guy that's like breaking the rules, right? And so, but guys will actually break the adjacent rule before they pee in the little one. So let's say you walk into the bathroom and the little one is off by itself, but there's a regular one next to a guy. People will use the regular one next to the guy before they'll use the little one away from other people. Haven't you noticed this?
No, I would use the little one. I'm comfortable using the little one in that scenario.
Interesting. You've had the training, yet you're still comfortable using the little one.
Because
Okay.
at that point, the decent thing to do is to leave the spot, right? So if I
I
use
agree, but
if
most people
because
are
if I
afraid
use
of
the
the
little
little one.
one first, and then the next guy comes in and has to use the little one, but there's only two big ones, I've done him wrong. But if I use but if somebody else is already using the big one, this guy is going to want to wait anyway till the little one is free, so he has his space.
Yeah, I agree. So, but I guess my question is, I just don't know why people avoid the little one.
I don't. They must
You
have had
think maybe it's
because
because
my
more
wife.
people? You think more people had this training, and they,
Maybe
even though
more
there's no
people have
sign
had
there,
the
they
training
think,
that at companies that other than yours that
or does it splash more? The question is, does the little one splash more, and is that why? Like, am I missing something? Like, does it splash more, and that's why you shouldn't use the little one because you're actually like getting it all over you? I'm just wondering.
I've never noticed it to be a bigger splasher.
Neither have I, which
I
is why I'm
mean,
kind of confused why no one uses it.
and what about those? Some of these places have all of them all the way to the ground, which handles the whole little one issue.
All right. So the ones on the ground, in my opinion, are old school ones because
Yes.
my elementary school had those. Now, if we're going to be real, those are the best. Not only, I mean, they're the best for the whole DEI reason, but the other reason they're the best, not for grown men, maybe drunk men, but elementary school kids. It is easier to have a long distance contest when it's on the ground to start with. You know what I'm saying? Like shooting hoops, the hoop is 10 foot tall, right? Or kicking a field goal, it's 10 foot tall. It's harder to kick a field goal if it has to clear a 10-foot bar, right?
Right.
Think about if the field goal was on the ground, you could kick probably extra 5 yards and kick a field goal, maybe 10 yards.
30,
So
I
if
would
you're an
expect.
elementary school kid and the urinal you're aiming at, and as you're taking a step back next to your buddy to see who can go further away, it's helpful you don't have to clear a high bar, if you know what I'm saying.
I do unfortunately know exactly what you're saying. And you're 100% right that the little kids, they need it. They need the lowest possible little kid one they can get.
Yeah, but not for the reason that educators probably think. Like the architects are like, oh, well, we could have some real short kids. No, it's because they want to pee from a long distance away.
Oh, I think the educators knew.
You think so?
Oh yeah, yeah. They were kids once too, Ed.
Well, if they really cared, then why do they put doors on the stalls? Because it's really tough to pee from a long distance because the door keeps swinging and closing and you're hitting the door.
It's got to be tough, man. You can't just make that game easy on these sixth graders.
That's like the miniature golf course of long distance peeing, the stall, right? Because like the windmill at the golf course
Right,
versus the
right.
door of the stall.
Right. And do you think the janitors make the door swing more or less? Like the janitors like, I want to embarrass these kids because I'm gonna have to clean up anyway, or I'm gonna make the door stay open because I want to limit the amount of cleanup I have to do.
I think if I was a janitor and I was able to do it, I would keep the door open because if the door's closing, you're guaranteed to clean up a larger mess. Just guaranteed. Because some kids have good aim and they're going to get some in the bowl, and so I think there's less cleanup. So
Okay, so we've now decided that janitors like on the ground, no doors.
they have to. And the other reason you would
They
like on
probably
the
don't even
ground,
like dividers. They probably like just the whole big giant trawl.
oh yeah, and you know why that is? Well, not the trough necessarily. I mean, the trough is old school. That's old school, but that's also off the ground. But here, if you're really thinking about cleanliness, right, and cleaning, if the urinal's on the ground and there's no dividers, right? There's no partitions in between, which there were not in the elementary school I went to, right? Like you could smack your buddy while you were peeing, right? But it's easier to clean because you could just take a bucket of water and just dump it on the floor and it's gonna go all in the urine. Like what's there to mop? It just goes right
Nothing.
into the urinal, pushes everything in. There's no dividers. I mean, I think that's the easiest way to clean, right?
I'm sure. I mean, not that I've ever had to clean a urinal,
But here's
but
my guess: the urinals in the ground cost more money because there's more porcelain. Think about how those things are like 5 feet tall, right? Whereas
right.
whereas the ones they've gone to today are like 2 feet tall.
Mm.
Less porcelain is less money, right? And I don't know where porcelain comes from, but my guess is it's not from America, which means now there's a tariff slapped on it. So what you're going to find out is I think our urinals are going to get smaller and smaller because they're going to try to keep the price the same and eat the tariff. So they're going to just shrink the urinal, and we're going to be peeing into 1 foot urinals soon.
And they're all going to be low, all
I,
low, 1 foot urinals.
well, I don't know what the plumbing is on that one, right? Because that's the other thing, steel pipes and stuff like that, man. You can't be spending the tariffs on that either. So I think it's going to be interesting on how the bathroom plumbing evolves because of the time we're living in right now.
I think you have entirely too much time on your hands. The way you figured, I feel like you've thought about this for a little bit of time, which, like I said, is what I imagine you do all day in your office is design bathrooms. Like, because you've been
Listen,
bragging about this new building that your company's building. I'm like, Ed's in there designing bathrooms. That's what
no,
Ed does.
I actually don't design bathrooms, but Obi, I will tell you this: you unlocked something. Like, so I showed up tonight's podcast. I had nothing to talk about, but you have unlocked something. You're right. I think a lot about bathrooms when I'm in them because I usually think about the dumb stuff, like you did. You came here with that rudimentary drawing, telling me what you didn't like. I am in bathrooms and I think all the time about the functionality. Like at my office, the bath. I mean, I've never seen this before. This is crazy. The urinal, they actually ask, and they have a short one and they have a tall one, but or regular or whatever. But it's not a traditional urinal. It's almost as if they took a regular toilet bowl and hung it on the side of the wall.
One of those stainless steel ones.
No, not a
Oh,
stainless steel one. This is porcelain, but it's like it's got more surface area to pee on than in, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'd have to draw a drawing too, but it I don't know. It's like a toilet bowl hanging on the side of the wall for the urinal. It's really weird. I've never seen it before. Oh, and it's got like 2 gallons of water in it. Like that's why I think it's like a toilet bowl. It's the weirdest urinal setup I've ever seen. And yeah, I'm not really sure why they did that. I don't think anybody's comfortable using it because that has a lot of splash. It just, yeah, I don't know, but it doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, so I think about these things, Obi. I'm like, what the
well,
hell?
well, Ed, that then you're gonna like this other thing that I didn't write down. But if you look at my rudimentary picture
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
you see I took the time to draw these three things in the back here.
Those got to be the sinks.
Those are the sinks, but they have the worst auto on off sinks I've ever seen. I hate this bathroom, man. Listen, in order to get the water to run, you have to have your hands fully above the sink. So the sink, no water gets in the sink. All the water gets on the surface around the sink because that's where you have to have your hands to run the water. So it's like you go to the soap, You put a little water on. You then wash your hands in the sink with no water, and then bring them up to get the soap off, and it goes all over the place. I don't understand who designed this bathroom, when it was designed. Like these
Yeah.
architects who designed
Colby,
this
you're onto
bathroom.
something. So I don't know about the design here, but the auto on off sinks. Now listen, I get it. It's probably saving trillions of gallons of water across the world, these auto ons. But there needs to be a law that standardizes how long they can be on for, right? Because some are on for not even enough. Like they tell you in those situations, you got to put the soap on your hands first, right? You got to put
Right.
your soap and you got to rub the soap on. So now your hands are caked in soap, right? You need some water to get that soap off, right? If you do it that way.
Good
And
luck.
sometimes the freaking it gives you like a drop of water. It doesn't, it's like
It spits.
yeah. It's as if you're mixing soap and water on your hands instead of wiping soap off. So there's got to be, it should be 30 seconds on. I don't care. 30 seconds minimum, and then it should shut off. But 30 seconds. Anything less than 30 seconds is just ridiculous. The second thing, you should be able to file a lawsuit against a company that hasn't changed the batteries in those things. Because if they don't work, there's nothing worse than getting soaped up and then it doesn't work. And then there's a guy at the sink next to you and his works, but yours doesn't. But now you got to wait there with your soap all over your hands, watching this guy wash his hands. That I don't like that, right? So
No.
you should be able to sue that company if you're stuck there with soap on your hands watching some other guy wash their hands. So that's two. And the third is they gotta have the dryers. Now I've seen this at Newark Airport, but you gotta have one dryer and or towel dispenser per sink, because there's nothing worse than in your scenario you said there's 3 sinks, or let's say there's 2 sinks going into one dryer. That doesn't make any sense either. That should be illegal. If there's 3 guys washing their hands, why should 2 have to wait to dry their hands? Like it's like I feel like I'm at a NASCAR pit stop when I'm in some of these bathrooms, because you got to get, like, if you're at the urinal with a guy, you now have to race from when you finish there. You got to buckle up. You got to get over to the sink, because if you know the place, you know the only one works anyways, right? So you got to get to the one that works. But let's say they all work. Now you got to get there, but you got to get done quick, because if you get done quick, you get to the dryer first. This is the shit I think about, Obi. See, you tapped into something. You have no idea.
I can't wait till we get to the shitters to hear what you have to say about those.
Oh, I don't do that in public. I have nothing to say about them. I'm too busy peeing and washing my hands.
Today, I was in the office, and it was at about the time I'd been there long enough, but I was in the kind of like I was in the work and really getting some stuff done and communicating with my boss back and forth and sending. He wasn't there, sending him, and then like all of a sudden I was just like, yeah, I gotta go home. It takes me about 45 minutes to drive home. I was like, I'll be available in about an hour, because I had to go home. I was.
You gotta go. You get like that, yeah. So
Yeah.
I have nothing to say about that. But I have a lot. I mean, I could go on this topic for hours.
I
Like,
see
have a
this.
lot of thoughts, like, but I'm gonna just keep these thoughts to myself.
No,
I
Ed,
have a lot of thoughts.
inquiring minds want to know, as do a lot of old people.
Yeah, I have thoughts though. The point is, don't go at work. Don't. Nothing good comes from that.
No,
People can see the shoes that people are wearing, and then they come back in the office. You're like, bro, that's the same shoes I just saw on the back. Like, just don't go. And here's the other thing I'll say now that we're talking about this. Number one thing, I don't care. I don't know what you're thinking, but if you go to the bathroom, you could do whatever you want at your house. I don't care, because I'm not at your house. But if you go to a public bathroom and there's somebody else in the bathroom,
oh, I know where you're going.
wash your freaking hands.
Can I tell you my favorite story about this? Because I don't care what you normally do. People know, and they're like, oh, that's the dude who doesn't wash hands.
Exactly. I don't know if you roll around in mud at your house. I don't care. But if I'm at the bathroom, at work, at the mall, Disney World, I don't care. The people who walk out, I'm telling you, this is a public service announcement for everybody listening.
Wash
You do
your
this.
hands in a
If you
public
walk out
bathroom.
without washing your hands, right? I am instantly judging you. Not only am I judging you harshly, I will talk about you when I get out of the bathroom to the people I'm going to see. So if I get out of the bathroom and it's my wife, I'll go, see the guy over there? Didn't wash his hands. If I get out of there and it's a bunch of coworkers, I'll be like, see the guy over there? Didn't wash his hands. Wash your hands.
And I got this. This is a great. I am job I had a while ago. I've been on the job for 2 days. Walk into the bathroom, do my business, just a nice little piss. Turn around, go to the sink. There's 2 sinks. My new boss, not my boss, like my boss's boss, comes out of the stall, walks right by me now. This is the guy I'm about to work. Now, Ed, over the course of the next 2 or 3 years, we cross paths in the bathroom on occasion. And every single time, because I know, he washes his hands. Every single time. Finally, about 2.5 years later, I'm back in this other building where this event was.
So wait. First time you're in there, he doesn't wash his hands. Every other time after that, he does.
Yeah, because I noticed, right? So the next time now I go to the bathroom in the building where this other event happened. It wasn't our regular building. I go into the stall because both urinals are taken, and wouldn't you know it, in that stall is a sink. I have been judging this guy incorrectly for 2 years. And 2 years in that stall, there's a sink, and there's a sink. And I'm like, man, and
Hey, Obi,
and
I
he's like the
think
kind of guy who, when you see him, your initial judgment of him is he washes his hands 18 times a day. Like, he's a very well put together dude. So like, you never would think he's a guy. Like, oh my god,
Obi, I there's a couple things here. First of all, if I'm that guy though, I wash my hands
in the regular sink. I did.
Yeah.
Knowing what happened to him, to me,
right. And so this is also public service announcement for everybody else listening. Just do it so you don't get judged. But here's the other thing I got to point out. Obi, how long have we been doing this podcast? Over 4 years, right?
Over 4 years, yeah.
That's the best freaking story you've ever told on the podcast. I got to give you props. That was the best story. You had delivery, you had suspense, you had timing, you had the punchline. Obi, you are learning. That was the best story you've told.
And I'm really happy that story didn't suck. The charm is that we suck. I'm Obi, that's Ed. Catch us next time on Drinking from the Garden.